Planning to reopen on June 6th and 7th. Am I confused now? Saturday and Sunday. I believe it's the 6th and the 7th of this weekend. And that means we're going to have our normal Sunday schedule once again. 4:30 English, 6 p.m. Spanish, and then 8 o'clock English, 9:30 English. We're actually going to do 11:30 and do it bilingual. 1 p.m. in Spanish, 5 p.m. in English. So this is an update for all of us as far as how to arrange to go to one of these masses. As I mentioned Sunday, unfortunately we have to begin slow with a limited capacity. We're grateful just for the opportunity to open our doors, but we have to have seating for less than 25% of what would be normal seating. We also have to maintain 6 feet distancing between people. So I have a few comments on the seating arrangements, but as a result of the limited capacity, we have to have reservations. So we spoke about the reservations on Sunday, but I have a few updates on that as well. So I just want to give you a few updates because it's such it's kind of like a puzzle for us to reopen and to do so according to the safety measures outlined by the diocese and the state, and to ensure that you guys, everyone from our parish, can come in a safe and healthy manner and still worship God and still receive communion and be at church. We were all excited for that. So here's a few updates just to clarify things. A number of people ask, do I have to wear a mask or some sort of face covering? The answer to that is yes. To come into the church at this time and to be here to pray in any sort of capacity, we're asking you to wear a mask. You might say, well, why aren't you wearing one right now? Well, no one's here. But the reality is, we're being asked that as we open the doors for gatherings of people, and since people are going to be coming from all sorts of areas and stuff, it's just for your own sake and for the sake of everyone around you that each person continues to wear some sort of face covering that'll cover the mouth and nose. And that way we can ensure some safety. So I apologize for those for whom masks are difficult, and I just invite you to consider maybe there's some sort of scarf or something else you can use to cover your face. But in any case, that's going to be a requirement to get in the door, okay, to wear a mask. We're also introducing today online signups. We're very close to releasing that to the public. And so within an hour, we're going to have that so that you can sign up yourselves for the different Mass times that are available. What this looks like is on our webpage, jp2kankakee.org, there will be a link where you can go to another website that does signups. We'll also add that link to our Facebook page once it's ready. And it's pretty straightforward. We have a few clarifying details. You're going to say you want to sign up for a day, an event. You find the day that you're looking for, the Mass time that you're looking for. It'll say English or Spanish. And then you can choose, when it says quantity, how many people are in your household. Okay? So this is a pretty important factor, and I just want to repeat it. So as you're signing up yourselves online and you're going to reserve seats, it'll have a number 1 to 7. How many seats is how many people are in your family, how many people live in your home, and how many people are coming with you to the Mass. That's basically how many people are coming to with you and they live in your family. The reason this is important is because we have to maintain social distancing. We've arranged so that we know the seating of the pews, and as someone reserves a party, in your family of 2 or 3 or 4, it changes how we're going to rearrange other people around you. If you're a family of 3 or more, that means you're pretty much getting a whole pew to yourself. But if you're just a couple, if it's just 2, then we can still have another person on the other end of the pew and keep a safe distance. In other words, our capacity number will actually fluctuate based on how many people are coming in families. And the reason, again, that you have to, as you mark how many people are coming, we're going to seat you together. So if you mark all 7, then that means we know you're a family of 7, and you can be all in one pew. If you're a family greater than 7, just ask that you fill that out twice for doing the math. And the reason for that is it's a little, I don't know, we want you to be comfortable, I guess, so we just said 7 people per pew. Maybe if you got a little guy, you can fit 8, and that's just fine. You don't have to worry if it's a little guy that can fit 8. Maybe put that in a comment. But I don't mean to complicate it. So feel free to call if you have questions like that. So that's the online signups. Once again, that'll be live within an hour. So grateful for the team making adaptations for that. With this capacity question in mind, as I was just describing, the capacity will fluctuate based on how many people are in groups. And I'm not trying to encourage you to go in groups or anything like that. I just want you to know that to understand our capacity does have a range. If everyone comes individually, for example, and they don't live together, that means we have to sit them very far apart, and that limits the pews, right? So suddenly, all of our pews, our capacity would be reduced to about 40 at that point. But if everyone were coming in like parties of 5, then all of a sudden that would theoretically take us up to like 100. We decided to aim for a little bit of a medium, but we're actually starting the online signups with the minimum possibility in mind, and we're going to adjust it as we see different groups come in. Basically, we don't want to be like the airlines if we're like giving a seat that doesn't actually exist, right? So anyway, please bear with us. If you see that a Mass is full, you can always check back later for cancellations, or in case there's actually a few extra seats that we can add. But in any case, because it's a limited amount of seating, we ask that you just try your best to be flexible, find a day, even if it's not Sunday, you could find another day of the week where you could go. And I ask for everyone to be considerate of the opportunity for others. So it might be tempting to see, I can take up the whole week here. We just ask, it's good. I don't know. I don't expect daily Mass to be full, but especially in these days when people have been unable to go, it would be really nice to have a chance for people to for everyone that wants to have an opportunity. And if you keep running into a dead end, I just encourage you to please call the parish office and we can make sure we find you a spot. Okay? So, with that said, we're also asking, and we'll be checking, that no one is signing up for more than one Sunday Mass for yourself as an individual. It's different if it's for your family, and you can put that in your comments, but the comment of the sign up. But if you personally want to go to more than one Sunday Mass, we just ask that you kind of hold off. Well, actually, if you really want to do that, why don't you be a volunteer? All right, yeah. Put in that plug. Okay, so that's the deal with the online signups, with the reservations, and with the minimum, but we'll continue to adjust it as we see. Another thing to say about reservations, this is actually very important. There's going to be a closing of the reservation opportunity, which is 2 days prior to the event. And so that means if you're going to the Mass on Saturday at 4:30, or you want to sign up for that, you'll have to sign up before Thursday at 4:30, right? 2 days prior, it's going to close online. If you want to go to Sunday morning at 8, that means you have to sign up by Friday morning at 8, right? And that's our procedure, is to see them closing 2 days prior, and that's part of the online program that we have. But we also need that window for our own sake of making sure that the seats will measure up and people are safely located in the church. And so we're going to be putting in, once people sign up, we're going to put in a little effort to what I call playing Tetris, fitting the different pieces together into the church. So once again, please be aware that the reservations will close 48 hours before the scheduled event, the scheduled Mass. So I mentioned earlier that we're going to do an 11:30 Sunday bilingual Mass. This idea came up as we were proposing the reopening, and we were thinking, for one thing, we have our largest attended Mass is actually Spanish 1 p.m. And for the sake of giving an opportunity for our Hispanic brothers and sisters that want to hear their language, we also thought they're at 1 p.m. and then they have 6 p.m. in Spanish, whereas there's 5 Masses in English. So what we decided to do is take one of the 5 in English and add a bilingual. So now there's 2 Spanish, 1 bilingual, for English. And so that's the routine for Sundays, well, the weekends. And part of the rationale there is also in response to some of the feedback we received both from Spanish and English speakers that they desire more bilingual services. And so that's where we're trying to adjust it. Let me just also say, while I'm thinking of it, that these masses are going to be what Father Sonny calls dry masses. We're not allowed to sing. The reason is if we're singing, then there's a lot of spit, apparently, going into the air, right? And just the air is flowing more or something. And so we're going to have all the windows open, the doors are going to be open so that there's some circulation. But we're not going to be singing. The masses are actually going to be a little bit quicker, I think. And we need a little more time because communion's going to be a little bit longer. It'll just be the priest offering communion, and it'll be one at a time, and people have to be a little bit spaced out. So that'll take a little bit longer. We're going to try to adjust, and we're going to still aim so that actually these masses as we begin will be a little bit faster than we normally would, and they're not going to be as elegant with beautiful music. We may have a little bit of chanting, or we may just have no music at all. But in any case, it's going to be a little bit simpler, just as a heads up, and we'll be reciting things like the Gloria. So these are the announcements I wanted to make to you today. Thank you for your attention. Please stay tuned in case there's further adjustments that we'll be making. But I want to just give a shout out for everyone that's been working with me to work to reopen the church. I know that unfortunately, it's not easy. It's a little bit of a puzzle, like I say, to figure out these standards and protocols. So I want to thank for all you faithful for your prayers. Keep praying that we can open up safely and do it well. And also pray for us that we do a good job in this preparation time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your consideration. Looking forward to seeing you again soon. I think we'll all be overjoyed at the chance to be in the house of God and worship in spirit and truth with the Lord. So God bless you and have a good day. And if you want to join me for breakfast with Jesus, it's coming up in like 3 minutes. See ya.